Welcome to today's show here on JTV. I'm David Rice. Good to have you with us, whether you're watching on TV, watching online, listening on the pod, wherever you get your podcasts. Appreciate it. David and producer Adam. Hello, Adam.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Good, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. Feeling a lot better about our baseball team, especially after their game yesterday.
That was a pretty good win, huh?
I know.
That was a pretty nice win.
15-1. That's how we open up today's show. A 15-1 win for the Detroit Tigers over the Seattle Mariners last night, Tuesday. Again, after they went out west for a little West Coast road trip to play the Mariners, and then the San Francisco Giants, Seattle started a series back here in Detroit a couple days ago. Last night, 15-1 commanding win over the Mariners. Kerry Carpenter was on the injured list, a 78-day absence from the Detroit Tigers, and returned and had 2 home runs. Jake Rogers, the Sheriff, grand slam, and 7 RBIs. Tariq Skubal, again, showing why he's definitely, I think, a lock now to win the American League Cy Young Award. Would you say that's a pretty fair case for a lock for the Cy?
Yeah, I think it's, if I remember correctly, I think it's like him or Corbin Burns, but to me it's not me being biased, to me it's easy that it's him.
Just looking at the numbers, I mean, yesterday he pitched 6 innings, but he had 9 strikeouts and only allowed the 1 run scored by Seattle. Skubal lowered his ERA now through 24 starts this year to 2.53, and just his 5th MLB season. Definitely, again, the front runner to win the Cy Young Award. 1 run, 3 hits, and 1 walk, and only had to pitch 88 pitches. So, shout out to Tariq Skubal and the Detroit Tigers. They're now 8 games back. Our last show Monday, they were 9.5 games back from the wild card race. They're now back up to 8. Still 14 games back from the AL Central. Again, we know they're not going to win the division or be close in that race. Cleveland pretty much the heavy favorite to run away and seal the Central. But now I think for the Tigers, it again, obviously, you want to win the division, but don't look forward, I guess, or set a goal now to race to try to compete for the Central, because now you're only 8 games back from the last wild card spot. And if you keep playing, maybe not 15-1, but you win a couple more games in the series through the rest of the week against Seattle, and then you win 1 or 2 over the weekend, that leaves you 5 or 6 games back, too. You catch up another game or 2. So if the Tigers continue to play even half as good as they did yesterday, right? I mean, I see them being only a handful of games back now, and we're talking about competing still right down to the very end of the season. So great win for the Detroit Tigers. This really brings their momentum up a lot, right, going through the rest of next week. A couple more tough opponents coming up, too.
Yeah, and I mean, you got a month and a half left in the season, so it's not like we got tons of season left, but I mean, you got a month and a half left. You're 8 games back, you said, of the wild card. That being said, what I said last week, I still think it's pretty much done. I still kind of am okay with this being the end of the season. If we finish right around here, this is kind of where I expected us to be for the most part. I was hoping to be pleasantly surprised, but I figured we'd be here. So, business as usual.
Right, and if we, keep playing better, hopefully our hopes get a little bit higher. And if they still don't make the playoffs, again, nobody's going to be disappointed, because besides the Lions, who have done really well the past couple years, this is the next Detroit team to really be on the come-up again. Obviously, the Red Wings, too, just missed out on the playoffs. So Detroit sports, other than the Pistons, which we don't talk about just because they're atrocious, and I don't watch them for a reason. But the Red Wings are on the come-up, just missed the playoffs. Tigers will be in the mix towards the end of the year. And, of course, we have the Lions, too. So Detroit sports really taking off. So, again, Detroit Tigers now 8 games back. And Cleveland, who, again, is going to win the AL Central, and the LA Dodgers are now tied for the best record in baseball at 71-49, and the New York Yankees right behind them at 71-50. So great win for the Detroit Tigers. Really needed that. And again, even a rare home run from Javi Baez last night.
What's
He's been playing
happening?
really well. I know.
Yeah, what is going on?
I don't know. All of a sudden, we talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago. He had 2 or 3 home runs in like a week stretch, and now he just hit another one. Why all of a sudden is he just
This is the
playing?
bias thing, though. I mean, like if you followed him, I followed him when he played for the Cubs, and it was the same thing when he played for the Cubs. He was cold, and then he would be the hottest hitter in baseball, and then he'd get cold again. He'd get you a few home runs.
Yeah.
Kind of, he would take from you, but then he would still give you a little bit to keep you coming back for more.
Yeah. Still pay me a little bit because I'm hitting a few here.
Right.
But also, maybe I shouldn't be paid because I still suck at the plate.
He's the guy that will come up to the plate and will hit you a walk-off home run. It'll be awesome, but then he's also the guy that will come up there 9 times out of 10 and will swing and miss.
He'll go into the walk-off 0 for 4 on the day.
Right, and that's happened plenty of times.
And that's what happened yesterday when he hit his home run. He went up to the plate, I think, in the 5th or 6th inning. He was 0 for 3 and then blasted it.
He needed to join the hit parade. Everybody else was having fun. He needed to join in, so
right.
Good for him.
And of course, it'd be like, oh, of course, the one person who didn't get a hit yesterday, Javi Baez. So,
there you go.
how do you know off the top of your head how much his contract is? It's probably too much.
I can look it up. It's something ridiculous. He's one of the higher paid players.
Why? I mean, I just don't. After this next deal is up, yeah, he's hitting a few home runs here and there, but he's not. He's not worth his contract. Maybe
The annual salary of $23 million. So when he signed the deal, it was a 6-year, $140 million deal. Yeah. So
$140 million.
Yep. So he's averaging 23.3 million. So yeah,
for one hit every 5 games.
it's not great. I was warning people about this when he was coming in. I was like, it's a fun pick because we don't always, being a smaller market, we don't always get those fun picks. But by taking on Javier Baez, you take on the cool moments and the cool things, but also the bad hitting.
You take on his terrible
right. The consistency
batting
just
stats.
isn't there. Consistency isn't there. But it's fun sometimes, man.
For sure. But again, I would, next time that contract comes around, utilize a little bit of that money for some of the younger guys who have been playing really well. Yeah, Kerry Carpenter, 2 home runs yesterday. He came back. It was literally his first game back after being gone from 80 days injured, and he had 2 home runs. Jake Rogers, again, when is Skubal going to have a payday, too? That's
coming for sure. I mean,
especially after he wins the Cy Young Award.
Right. But just to go back to Jake Rogers, he has been one of those guys this season that's been like one of the big surprises. I did like him, but he has been awesome. I feel like he's had these, sure, he'll have those slow hitting days too, but then it's like you'll see 7 RBIs. Like I feel like it happens often where it's like he won't perform for a while, but then on a 2-week stretch he'll have 15 RBI or something like that, and it's just like wow. So I big ups for Jake Rogers. I think he's gonna stick around.
The Sheriff, grand slam and 7 RBIs. Detroit Tigers 15-1 yesterday over the Seattle Mariners. Again, mentioned it on Monday. Want to let you know about a couple things happening again locally out here at Jackson College. Their Priority Health Fitness Court, they had their ribbon cutting on Tuesday. And again, you can check out photos from the entire thing online at jtv.tv. Andy Hawley, who will be, I think, on our show in the next week or two. So excited to have Andy Hawley on. And again, you can check out his new podcast with Jennifer Scanlon from The Morning Show coming out soon as well. So a lot of cool things happening here in this studio. But Jackson College, they have their youth soccer camp coming up tomorrow, Thursday the 15th, and Friday the 16th, noon to 2, $50 per player. Each camper will receive a T-shirt and a fun learning environment working directly with the college coaches and players. Additionally, all campers are invited to attend the women's team friendly match on Wednesday, August 17th at 2 p.m. and participate in a pregame walkout onto the field with the players. And ages for the campers 5 to 14, and the camp fee again $50 per player. August 15th and 16th, noon to 2 p.m. And of course, their 12th annual JC Jets Athletics golf outing still coming up Saturday, September 28th, 9 a.m. at my course, Lakeland Hills. The Jets Air Station's still open all summer long for free, Monday through Friday, 8 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 4. They have the walking track around the outside. In the dome, they have the pickleball, volleyball, and basketball courts too. And one new thing at JC want to let you know about: their open tryouts for their cross country are happening on August 28th and September 4th, 2 days at 3:30 p.m. So a lot of great things happening out at Jackson College. Again, later in the show, keeping it local, we'll have more details on it later, but the running back from Michigan Center, Braylon Brown, the Michigan Center Cardinals, will be joining the show. They went 7-3 last year. He was a key player for them, and he is one of the many juniors on a junior-heavy Cardinals team returning. We'll talk a little bit more Team USA. We'll predict some guys who may be on the 2028 basketball roster. Colin Kaepernick making headlines, too, and the first college football preseason rankings have come out as well. But right when we come back from the break, J.J. McCarthy, some bad news from him and the Detroit Lions, so stick around for that. Welcome back here on JTV. I'm David Rice. Our show today brought to you by the Insurance Circle Agency. You can visit them in Jackson on Spring Arbor Road or in Battle Creek, myinsuranceCircle.com. Thanks to everybody there. Well, on Tuesday, some NFL news. The Minnesota Vikings announced that former Michigan quarterback, Minnesota Vikings QB, rookie J.J. McCarthy, will undergo surgery for a torn meniscus in his right knee. Per ESPN reports, the procedure will sideline him for an undetermined amount of time. NFL media reports, too, that the test done on McCarthy's sore knee revealed a meniscus issue, and he will likely miss a few weeks and will be sidelined. If it's a repair, he'll be out months. With this development, now definitely Sam Darnold, unfortunately, will be the Vikings starting quarterback to begin the 2024 season. See, that's when we can talk about playoffs with Sam Darnold, because you're not getting to the playoffs with Sam Darnold. So,
Playoffs?
yeah,
You kidding me?
exactly.
Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Yeah, that's right.
Can the Vikings win a game? That will be.
If they're playing the Carolina Panthers, maybe.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
McCarthy came actually into the practice facility Monday, and he reported knee soreness, leading the team to hold him out of practice. Head coach Kevin O'Connell said J.J. McCarthy had, quote, some kind of routine soreness that a lot of guys after their first preseason game comes in with, and it was something we wanted to be smart about. Out of precaution, they were going to continue an evaluation on him, and now it's a torn meniscus, and if it's a full repair, again, he'll be out for several months, which will mean, again, Sam Darnold, who I've not been very high about, will start the season for the Vikings. Again, the Vikings aren't competing in the NFC North anyways. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. So it just does, it pretty much seals it in for them.
Well, I was gonna say, like, trust me, I'm okay with them not having a real starting quarterback, right? But you hate to see that with McCarthy, because I thought he was gonna kind of prove people wrong, because I think a lot of people thought that was a bad choice.
Well, he did really good in the first preseason game.
He did look good. He did look good. So yeah, that is a shame. But one more quarterback down in the North isn't the worst thing in the world.
And we also have one running back down, too, in the NFC North.
Well, this is a problem.
Second-year running back Jahmyr Gibbs left the Lions practice Monday afternoon with a leg injury. According to the team and coach Dan Campbell, he went through position drills with both the running backs and wide receivers before exiting the drills. ESPN reports he is now being evaluated for a hamstring injury. The Lions spent their first 2 picks also in the 2024 draft. By the way, before we talk about a couple of other injuries, Jahmyr Gibbs, again, it's a hamstring injury. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. And Coach Dan Campbell is still optimistic about it. And again, more worried about that than the Vikings. Again, J.J. McCarthy's our guy. He's Michigan, so thoughts with him. But Jahmyr Gibbs, it's adding on to the first 2 picks in the 2024 NFL draft. They addressed their biggest need in the last draft, and that was cornerback. Of course, Lions drafted Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. And at practice on Monday, both of them had to leave too with injuries. 3 major pieces leaving the practice field. Arnold left with an upper body injury while Ennis Rakestraw was being looked at for an ankle injury. According to the team, Rakestraw left at the beginning of team drills with a slight limp, and Arnold left during one-on-one tackling drills following a rep lined up against Amon-Ra. Again, still very optimistic, according to the team and Coach Campbell, about these 3, but you never, depending on how the MRIs look, if one of them hopefully doesn't need surgery, but if they do, especially because it's their first and second round draft picks that both got hurt, we're talking about some serious keys missing for the Lions. One of their 2-headed running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs, not playing right now. Terrion Arnold, not playing. Rakestraw, not playing either. So
yeah, but I'm good with being overly cautious in these situations because it's the preseason, so we still got a lot of preseason left. We still got a month before the start of the regular season, so I'm okay with these injuries. Let them happen now. I don't want them to happen at the end of the year.
And don't happen, week 13 or 14 when you're trying to fight for the division or a playoff spot. So they can heal up, miss the first couple games, and the majority of the season, they're still with the team. Moving on, more NFL headlines. Colin Kaepernick, I mentioned earlier before the break, making some news. Colin Kaepernick said he wants to play flag football for Team USA in the 2028 LA Olympics. He said, quote, "Hopefully we'll be out there. We're going to work on some things, see if we can make it there, but we'd love to be out there." Adam, I'll let you have the floor first.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Because there's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot here with this.
It's okay. I think if there's only one U.S. Olympic team, and say we can't have, I don't know, what is the deal? Can we have professional athletes? Like, is it going to be like the 3-on-3 thing, or is it going to be more like
sure.
Because if it's like 3-on-3 thing, then yeah, there might not be a better quarterback out there right now that isn't currently on an NFL team. But with that being said, or like in one of the other leagues. But that being said, if you can just pull any player, there's no way that Mahomes isn't as good as Kaepernick. Right.
Yeah. And again, flag football is one of the few sports that'll actually be joining the mix in the LA Olympics. A couple of the other ones include T20 cricket. Now, I've never heard of T20 cricket. I don't know what's different about that. Again, but I don't watch cricket.
It might just be normal cricket for all we know. Yeah, who knows?
Lacrosse is going to be added.
That's interesting.
I'm interested to watch that.
I would love watching, when we were talking about sports to watch, like handball and stuff like that, that would be one of those sports next time around that I will definitely watch.
Because I've never, outside of America, obviously other countries have lacrosse teams, but I've never heard just any news, or I guess you could call it that. I've never heard of anybody talk about lacrosse teams outside of college or whatever in America.
I was going to say, yeah, college would probably be the extent.
Baseball and softball are going to be in the Olympics. Excited for that. And squash. I don't.
Squash is fun. Have you ever?
What is? I don't. I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't know even how it's played.
It's like tennis, but it's like a little ball, like a little like blue ball or whatever, and then
birdie, like badminton.
kind of, but it's not. It's like an actual like hard ball that you're hitting like off the wall and stuff like that. I'll have to show you some videos of it.
Yeah, during the break, we'll have to look up a squash video. I know the first search results are going to be not the sport, more of
The type sport after.
yeah,
that,
the post game meal squash. So
that's your post game. Wait a minute, we're not gonna get. That's your post game meal is squash.
no. I said that would be a that is what would show up if we
okay.
searched up would be squash. No, I don't like squash. I wouldn't eat it.
You wouldn't eat it. Yeah.
No. The 36-year-old Colin Kaepernick hasn't appeared in an NFL game since 2016. I can't believe it's been 8 years since he hasn't played.
That's so wild.
His final year with San Francisco was 2016. In 58 career starts, he threw for almost 13,000 yards, 72 touchdowns, and 30 interceptions. His career passer rating, 88.9. Again, remember a couple of years ago, after the first 2 or 3 years, Colin Kaepernick said, or it was essentially, I don't know what the right word is, after he kneeled for the national anthem, he wasn't playing anymore. There was a couple years, and then after that, he said he wants to come back. And I thought he was actually going to come back, even if he was just a backup. I thought he would still be on a roster for a couple years, but he was completely removed from the league.
Well, yeah, it was one of those things where it was like a lot of the teams, if there wasn't like an agreement made by the teams, if there wasn't any sort of agreement, then what I would say is it was probably some sort of like, hey, we don't want to deal with the baggage of this, so we're not going to, there's other backups out there that
don't want to deal with the headlines.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what some of it is.
And I get it, but my response to that would be, who cares?
Oh, for sure.
It's football. He was a great quarterback. One of the best in the NFL when he played with the Niners.
But if you remember, towards the end that last season, he did not play great.
No, it wasn't good. But he still had it was still Colin Kaepernick. He wasn't. That's a man that had a Super Bowl appearance with San Francisco, with our guy Jim Harbaugh.
That's right.
But who cares, right? I mean, I know it was big headlines when that whole thing happened, but when he comes back, it's football. You're coming to the team to be the quarterback. We're not picking you up and saying, oh man, I wonder what ESPN thinks about us signing him. No, just he's on the team and he's on the team. Transitioning quickly here to college football, the first preseason rankings came out a couple of days ago, and I'm interested with this. Georgia, number 1. I think automatically the national champions from the year before should be number 1 in the first rankings because, I mean, they're the best team till somebody else takes the trophy.
Sure. I think they also don't they also look towards like what the next season, like, if they lose a bunch of people, wouldn't they bring them down? Isn't that how they typically do it?
I think, and that's why Michigan's at number 9 on there. Number 9 is shocking. Number 2, Ohio State. Again, I wouldn't put Ohio State at 2 either. So Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Oregon 3. I'm surprised by that. Texas 4 and Alabama 5. Again, I'm not surprised by that. I'm okay with it. Number 6 is where I'm the most shocked. Ole Miss at number 6. Why out of nowhere did they because they weren't even in any conversation last year. They were barely ranked for a few parts of the year, and now all of a sudden they're number 6.
I think 6 is a little high, but I like them being
I wouldn't put them
favored
in the
and
top 10 at all.
Oh, you wouldn't put them in?
No.
You know what? It's funny. It's like I look at this list, and it's like I almost would rather put Florida State
Above Ole Miss.
Well, yeah, but then I almost rather put Florida State above Notre Dame, so I almost would put Florida State 6.
Right.
Ole Miss probably like 8, 9.
I would put them at 10 on that list.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, number 7, that's respectable, but again, they weren't really in any conversation for the playoff or anything either last year, so I would put them in Ole Miss 9 or 10 flip-flop.
And that's a tough schedule. That to being an independent, that's a tough schedule to have. So I don't know.
Penn State at number 8. Why is the NCAA and why is the playoff committee always so generous to Penn State? they start out 9-0, right, or 8-0. They feel pretty good. They're ranked number 9 or 10, and then they play Michigan in week 9 or 10, and then they lose, and then they lose to Ohio State the next week, and then it's the same never-ending cycle every year for Penn State. Michigan number 9, they should be number 1 or 2. I'm happy with 1 or 2. And Florida State number 10, again, they should be higher. Who would be, Adam, your top? Let's go 3 or 4. I know the playoff now is 12 teams, but who would be out of these 10 teams your top 4?
I would go.
It doesn't have to be in order.
Right? No, I'll go top 4. I'll actually go top 5. I mean, Georgia number 1. I agree, and same thing. Ohio State number 2. Just based on, if we're looking at based on last season and this season, so what they're bringing into this season.
I would put Ohio State in the top 1, 2, or 3. I don't know if I'd put them in number 2, but for sure my top 5. But continue.
Well, of course, it pains me to say Ohio State there, but that's what I think is gonna. If you're just telling me what I thought, so Georgia, Ohio State, and then I would go Texas over Oregon.
Yeah,
I would go Texas. Then I would go Oregon. Then I would probably say Alabama, 5th.
Okay, and not in order here, but my top 5: Michigan, Georgia, Texas, probably either Ohio State or I'd go Ohio State. And the 5th team to me is either Alabama or Florida State. I think those could be flip-flops.
I think Florida State's a really good team, and I think they're going to easily win the ACC this year. I think their really only big competition is Clemson, and Clemson's got a tough schedule, so we'll see.
And I don't think Clemson will be great, so I think Florida State wins that game. I'd put Florida State to round out my 5. So Michigan, Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Florida State. Again, Georgia, number 1 in the college football preseason rankings. Still got a lot to get to on the remainder of our show. When we come back, more Media Day coverage as we look forward to our 25th season of high school football on JTV. Stay with us. Welcome back here on JTV. I'm David Rice. David Rice, producer Adam with you. Our show today brought to you by the Insurance Circle Agency, 269-200-2905, myinsuranccircle.com. We talked about J.J. McCarthy earlier, and I just saw this during the break. Breaking news on J.J. McCarthy. Head coach Kevin O'Connell just announced J.J. McCarthy underwent successful surgery report this morning. It did require a full repair, and he will miss the entire 2024 season.
Oh, no. That's not good.
Sam Darnold, your starting quarterback for the Vikings this year. Now we can talk about playoffs. Actually, we can't. They're not going to make the playoffs. So
Playoffs? You kidding me?
Yeah.
Playoffs?
I just hope we can win a game.
I just hope we can win a game.
Right, there you go. Who was the name of that coach, by the way? I forget that. From the Colts that said it was the Colts, right?
I know, and it stinks because it's like 9 times.
It's right here on. It's
like 9 times out of 10 I know this name. Let me think of it. I'll have it for you. I'll have it for you after this.
Well, we just talked about maybe Sam Darnold, and now it's for sure Sam Darnold for the 2024 season. Now we know for sure they're not in the contention for the division. The Bears aren't in contention either. So now it's really the Packers and the Lions.
I got it.
Okay.
It was Jim Mora. Jim Mora was the coach that said that.
Okay.
Yep.
But I already said the Bears weren't going to be in contention for the division, and now the Vikings definitely are not going to be in contention. I was hoping it'd be JJ throwing to JJ, Justin Jefferson, this year, but that's not going to happen, and Justin Jefferson probably feels the same way Devontae Adams does now. Can I have a quarterback? Can I have one that can actually throw the football and that's actually decent? Because Sam Darnold's not. So Again, sucks for J.J. McCarthy. He was the 8th overall pick, ninth, top 10, and now he's missing the entire 2024 NFL season. I was afraid it was going to be a full repair on the torn meniscus, and it is. So, again, prayers to J.J. McCarthy, and as always, go blue. I won't say go Vikings, so I'll just say go blue. But I mentioned before we went to break, we continue our coverage as we get really close here. The days keep getting closer and closer to our 25th season of high school football here live on JTV. Myself, Josh Brigette, Pat O'Dowd, Dan Gallagher, Max Fritz, and our entire team behind the scenes, excited to bring you Michigan Center going to the road to Lumen Christi High School for week 1. And today on the show, I'm excited to talk with Michigan Center running back Braylon Brown. He had a big game last year on JTV. We covered live Michigan Center hosting Jonesville at the end of the year. Braylon Brown had 2 touchdowns in that game. Michigan Center 7-3 last year. They lost a heartbreaker 35-34 in the first round of the playoffs to Lansing Catholic. Michigan Center, the Cardinals under head coach Troy Allen have made the playoffs 6 of the last 8 seasons. They are a consistent winning and competing program. The focus for this season, according to coach from Media Days, hopefully stay healthy. Injuries have really hurt the team the last couple of years. Of course, the first game last year, Lumen played at Michigan Center, and their quarterback had a major injury in the first game. So injuries have really hurt the Cardinals. They still made the playoffs, finished 7-3, but their focus for this year is to stay healthy. And they're a very junior-heavy team, too. Only 8 seniors on this year's team and 7 returning starters on both sides of the ball. So they have experienced starters coming back for Michigan Center, including Braylon Brown, who had a exceptional year last year for Michigan Center. And I had a great conversation with him, running back from the Michigan Center Cardinals, Braylon Brown, joining the show. Take a look. Welcome back here on JTV. I'm David Rice. Our show today brought to you by the Insurance Circle Agency, 269-200-2905. Thanks to the team at the Circle Agency. We're continuing our coverage here leading up to the start of our 25th season of live high school football here on JTV. We continue our Media Day interviews from Jackson High School, and we're here with class of 2026 running back and corner Braylon Brown from the Cardinals of Michigan Center High School. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate the time today. So how's summer workouts and 7-on-7s and everything so far going this summer?
Been going pretty good.
Yeah.
I've had lots of people show up.
Coach Allen going into his 12th season here, coaching as the Cardinals. Talk a little bit about Coach Allen and what he means to you and the team.
Coach Allen is a great guy, super nice. He definitely pushes us, make sure we're always doing good.
You guys have a new, believe, coordinator. Talk a little bit about him and the impact he's had so far on the team.
He's a good dude, great to be around.
Your offensive coordinator, Justin Ward, I know you're the running back. I got to call a couple of your games last year. Talk about what he does for you on the offensive side of the ball.
He's just making sure everything's perfect and everything's flowing well.
So looking at the schedule, this is the second year now that we've had an East and West Cascades Conference. And a couple of the other teams, especially in the west side of the conference, like Addison, they have a new coach. They lost a lot of guys. Napoleon lost a lot, too, going into the season. And Manchester's got a new coach, and Grass Lake's got a lot coming back. Talk a little about the competition and how this conference, I think, is a little more open this year, a lot more competition for you guys on the schedule.
100%.
So, and again, what games, going back to the schedule, what games do you have, if you have any, circled on your calendar? This is the team I want to play the most, or we got to have this. Lumen? I imagine that'd be the answer for pretty much any team here that plays them. And again, there's not a lot of local teams, though, that play Lumen because of their new conference that they're in the Catholic League. So, and you guys played them last year as well. Now you're going to their place. And they're the back-to-back state champions. Of course, they're the game circled on everybody's calendar. We talked about it before the interview. What's that been like preparing for them? I know you guys played them last year. And what did you take away from that game and learn from that game going into the opening week this year?
Well, we took a beat down last year for sure. So we're just trying to go make an impact on it and not let that happen again.
Do you guys have a team motto or anything you're following this year?
Not that I know of right now. I think we're
Okay.
trying to get one.
A couple of fun questions here before we wrap up. Do you have any game day superstitions or routine or anything before you go out there?
No, not really.
I asked another player earlier about a game day, a meal or anything he's got to have before the game, and he said Subway, and that's a lot of popular for
Yeah.
players. Anybody else or your teammates that have anything like that, a game day
Subway
meal?
for sure. Sometimes
Subway?
we all go out there.
Yeah.
Or
Do you have a funny nickname, or anybody on the team have a funny nickname appropriate for TV?
not really.
No. And I imagine a lot of you guys are close off the field and hang
Oh,
out a
yeah.
lot. Talk about the relationship you have and you guys together off the field.
Okay, we don't have like a big class really, so we're all
Yeah.
pretty close. A lot of us are all close together. We all play a couple sports together. So yeah.
Again, back-to-back state champions Lumen Christi going to their place the first week. We look forward to covering you guys multiple times this year. Good luck the rest of the season, and thanks for the time today. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Welcome back here on JTV. I'm David Rice. Thanks to the Insurance Circle Agency. YahooSports.com put something out earlier predicting the 2028 Team USA basketball roster for the LA Olympics. This is an interesting list. We'll scan through this really quick. Tyrese Halliburton, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, and Jason Tatum, 4 guys who were on this year's team. Jalen Brunson, Jalen Suggs, Jalen Brown, who I think got robbed from this team, Paolo Banchero, Cooper Flagg, that's like their Christian Laettner pick, Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, 2 more who were on this year's team, Chet Holmgren, and 2 other candidates maybe to swap out, and then Zion and Scotty Barnes. But I tell you what, if Zion keeps looking like Charles Barkley now, he won't be on the Olympic team or playing regular minutes. He keeps getting hurt. I mean, he's a great player, but he just Barkley said it before too. He's got to keep his weight under control and stay healthy. It's been tough for him. So
I thought you were going to say how he said that it was Shaq and Charles Barkley's love child. Was what they said was
looked
what
like they had
Zion
a baby
was.
over the
that's-
summer.
That's right.
By the way, Barkley actually just took his big $200 million contract a few years ago. He extended with TNT. He's staying with them. He took a $100 million pay cut. That way the producers and the rest of the crew can keep their jobs. So shout out to Charles Barkley.
That's awesome.
So again, anybody on there that maybe you'd want to add or throw in with the roster?
It's funny. I think a couple of these guys that were on this past roster that were veterans, I think a couple of those guys could still be there. I think Kevin Durant could still be playing in 4 years. Do you think?
I think him and Curry and LeBron, those were their last Olympics.
You think so? You pretty
Because
confident?
Steph Curry and LeBron's will be 40 in December.
Right, right. It's just they are younger than LeBron, and it's
Right,
it's
but
for
Curry
sure
is
it's 4
also
years.
32 though, 33. But he's not in his prime either.
You don't think he'll want to play
he's
one
still
last
playing
one?
good now, but I think he's slowly starting to be on the decline. And Kevin Durant just hasn't been the same the last couple of years. He's still Kevin Durant, but he's also 35, 6.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, list is really good. I mean, I think that's kind
Right.
of, I think the Cooper Flagg pick is a little weird and kind of premature. And who knows if he ends up being that guy, then we'll
Right.
just laugh about it. But
It's a
I
way
think it's a
too
little
early
too
pick
early.
for him.
Yeah, but everybody else, I'm pretty confident with. Zion, I think is not a good pick. I don't think he'll.
No. That's a summer child pick there, Shaq and Chuck.
sure.
But speaking of the Olympics, bronze medalist in golf Hideki Matsuyama, he will not have a caddy or a coach He won't have his regular caddy and swing coach at this week's FedEx St. Jude Championship after the Japanese golfer and his team were robbed during a layover in London. After capturing a bronze medal in the Olympics, Matsuyama stopped in London before flying to Memphis, Tennessee, the first leg of the FedEx playoffs. Matsuyama told Golf Digest Japan that his wallet was stolen during the incident, but his passport and his newly won medal were not taken. His caddy and his coach both had their passports and visas stolen too. They had to return their Japan, where they've asked for expedited documents to return to the U.S. There's a chance that they will make it back, but we have to go into it thinking it's close to 0. So again, that's a crazy story. Imagine being an Olympic golfer. You're obviously the third best golfer in the world, won bronze, and you have no passport and you have no money, your wallet.
Luckily, you're famous, so like that person's famous, so maybe he can work a few.
Luckily,
things
his
to
name's
get it.
Hideki Matsuyama.
Right.
So he,
They know who he is.
Right. Or same thing if this happened to Scotty Scheffler. Do you not know who I am? I am Scotty Scheffler. But anyways, hope all is well and gets taken care of for Matsuyama and his caddy and his coach. Great show today, and Tigers are going to be on this weekend. They're going to be at home.
Yankees. So big matchup. We'll see if we really are, if we're pretenders or if we're actually contenders in this wild card.
Is this a make or break series, do you think?
I think so. I mean, like if we win this series, I'll say this. If we win this series, we are definitely, I will eat my words, and we are definitely wild card contenders. If we lose,
well, I think we still are now, but I think we're for sure still in the race.
Oh, for sure. But, time's going to start to run out eventually. So if we do something against the Yankees, and the Yankees lost to the White Sox are the worst team in baseball, so anything can happen. We could still win.
It's true. I did forget they lost to the White Sox.
Yeah,
so
it
that gives me a little more hope for the Tigers. So, Tigers, any other sports exciting?
I think that's kind of it. That's kind of the big one, and then we're getting ready for NFL coming soon.
That's right. More preseason. Thanks to the Insurance Circle Agency. Thank you to Adam and everybody else for watching and listening. I'm David Rice. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching and listening, and we will talk to you again next week.